Hey everyone, I am professional photographer Ian Plant, and my goal, my mission in life is to help you become the best photographer you can be. And I am privileged to work with some of the best photographers on the planet. And today I am joined by an immensely talented photographer. He's so good, he's got the talent of two people. Miles Dyer. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Ryan Morgan. No, wait, that doesn't sound right either. Better. Oh, I almost forgot. We've got a special twofer edition, Miles Morgan and Ryan Dyer. Welcome to Photo Talk.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Ian. Good to have you. I like Ryan Morgan better because I really think he should take my last name.
When you're the one writing the coattails, you take my last name.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh,
fair enough. All right, I'll take. Hang on. Let me put on my raincoat. I'm ready for this. I can deflect all of what Ryan has to say. All right, now I'm ready. Let's continue.
I have this sneaking suspicion that we're not going to be talking about photography that much on this episode, that we're just going to get into the personal grudges between you guys. Now, my understanding is that you guys have been very good friends for a very long time, so I'm sure that all of this is good-natured. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a lot of fun listening to the back and forth. So before we get started, I like to ask the photographers I'm talking with to introduce themselves. So for those viewers out there who have been living under a rock for the past 10 years and don't know who Miles Morgan and Ryan Dyer are, I'm going to let them tell you who they are, where they are based, the type of photography that they enjoy doing most, and how they got into photography. Let's start off with you, Miles.
Hello, everybody. First of all, this thing's really hot, so we're stripping down. I'm going to have to let the insults cascade over me and just take them because the raincoat was making me sweat. My name is Miles Morgan. I live in the Portland, Oregon area, and I've been shooting, 11 years now. I picked up landscape photography in 2009. A lot of it by looking at images by Ian Plant and Ryan Dyer, I might add. And I'm an airline pilot by trade. I certainly would never think of doing this professionally. I'm not nearly talented enough, but I fly for United Airlines and have been doing so for 25 years, which was awesome until a month ago when basically the travel demand dried up. So other than that, I'm a part-time pilot now for a little bit until things recover, and a full-time dad to a 1-year-old. So my primary mode of shooting now is iPhone, naked butts running through the house, but I'm still trying to get out there every now and then and take a couple landscape shots.
It's like the world's worst rap video.
I was about to say that that sounds like my typical day, but
the opposite of that. Yeah.
but Ryan beat me to the punchline, and his was much better. Ryan Dyer, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am 36 or 37 now. Picked up a camera in 2007-ish, and then screwed around for a bunch of years and somehow do this for a living. I don't know how I made it. So
that was really engaging.
That's
Thanks
really
for that.
about it.
Yeah.
No, I like big, bold landscapes. I met my wife through photography. I met this dork through photography. So, it's given me a lot of good stuff.
Well, let's talk about meeting the dork, as you put it. I'm assuming by the dork you mean Miles. So how and when did you guys meet?
I better take that one because I don't trust Ryan's recollection of things. First of all, I would also like to add that I'm disappointed because I had these T-shirts made up for our team. We've got a team of 4 buddies that we go out and shoot pictures every now and then. And I went to great expense and time to design these in small, I might add. Although I think I got Ryan a triple XL because I'm twice his size.
There you go. Yep.
And he's not wearing the team shirt, so that's strike one.
Like many things, you didn't follow through and actually deliver.
That's true. It is in my closet, but that's beside the point. So how we met in 2009 when I started taking pictures, and Ryan was sort of the best known local Portland photographer, and one that I really liked his style. He's got that painterly style and is a master with Photoshop and just enjoys taking the image out of a camera and making it into this artistic creation. And I found that style to be particularly appealing. So I reached out to him one day and I said, hey, gosh, I really want to go take pictures of the White River. Your pictures up on Mount Hood inspire me. Can you tell me a little bit about where to go and what I should be looking for? And I'm no threat to anybody. So he graciously said, hey, I go up there every day. Why don't you just come meet me? Great. So I go out and buy snowshoes. I didn't have any snowshoes. Never snowshoed in my life. Drive up to Mount Hood. There is Ryan Dyer in the parking lot, hair down to his ass, smoking a cigarette, tattoos all over himself. I'm 6'5", he's 5'6". I'm just looking at him going, this is the oddest couple of all time. Then I'm trying to get my snowshoes on. And right then and there is where I learned what a unbelievably gracious human being Ryan is. Never met me in his life. Some dork, thanks for that, Ian, by the way, I appreciate that. Some dork is up there, cramping his style. All he wants to go do is take pictures. And by the way, the light, it's still pre-dawn, but the light is looking like it might be pretty spectacular. So he helps me get my snowshoes on and off we go. Well,
strapped him up like a little baby.
Exactly. Watch me, kind of fumble around trying to get myself going. 6 feet from the parking lot, we go up this little crest, and me being large, straight through, post hole down up to my shoulders. Now, I outweigh Ryan by 100 pounds, and here he is trying to haul me out. At that point, now we're closer. He's trying to haul me out of this hole that I've created. Finally drags me out like a turtle on my back, in the shell, trying to get myself up. I go another 10 feet, post hole down, and rinse and repeat. We do this for the half-mile snowshoe up there. And at one point, I remember, now this is taking a lot longer than it should because I'm so slow. I got stuck, and I look at Ryan, he's 50 feet ahead. He gets stuck. And if you can see it from my perspective, there's this amazing Mount Hood scene and this lenticular cloud pouring across the top and the light's starting to catch it. And it's this pink alpenglow, dawny, before the light actually hits the peak glow. And all I see is me stuck up to my chin and Ryan 50 feet up, stuck up to his waist. And that was our shoot for the morning. That's how it began.
Well, okay, I've got to interrupt with a question. When Ryan was helping you out of these deep holes that you had fallen into, was it kind of a Rapunzel type situation? Did he lower his hair so that you could grab it and climb out?
No, why didn't he? That selfish prick. If he was half the man he said he was, he would have helped me out with his hair. It was.
I'm not interested in meeting guys on the internet and letting them pull my hair.
I know for a fact that's not true.
Okay, well, so that begs a very important question, Ryan, because I assume that you get a lot of these, let's face it, stalker emails from people who want to hang out with you. I know it happens to me on occasion. And
never happens to me.
I want to know, I'm sure you've got your own stalkers, Miles, but I want to ask Ryan, what was it about Miles's email to you that caused you to think, this guy's a stalker freak, but I don't think it'll be that bad. I'll hang out with him.
Well, it was on Flickr, actually.
Oh,
and so, yeah, way back in the days. It was on Flickr. And so I was able to look at his work and kind of see that if he was like a legit guy or whatnot. And he was about the same skill set as me at the time. So for me, it was... Well, you were. We've learned together. I haven't taught you shit. But, for me, I was just fairly new to it myself, so trying to find friends to do photography with just didn't seem like a big deal.
Well, it's certainly gotten a lot easier to find photography friends because it seems like everyone and their mother is now a full-time professional or serious amateur photographer. I remember back in the day. Go ahead.
Now my goal is to not meet other photographers. So that's the one thing that's changed.
Yeah, I
fair enough.
I concur with that. It's funny because I'm so privileged to have met both of you guys, and it's not lost on me that I am the apprentice and have
welcome.
taken a lot more than I've given. But I've got my core group of about 5, and by the way, I don't take that the way that I know you dirty-minded people are taking that. I've got my core group of 5 or 6 friends that I really enjoy seeing and spending time with in the photography community, and I'm really happy with that. And I get stressed out if I meet new people to go shooting with. I always kind of wonder, well, am I going to trip and fall, or am I going to look like a dork? Well, yeah, the answer to that's clearly been established. But I'm so grateful for the 5 or 6 that I have, but to expand that circle anymore would be tough at this point.
Well, and how many people are you going to meet who you have more in common with than a camera? You know.
Yeah.
That's why we get along so well.
Well, okay. Ian, I'm sorry to hijack this for a second, but I've got
not at all. Go right ahead.
I have some grievances to air, and I figure this is my chance. So, Ian, I would like to present to you the Ryan Dyer that I know and love. Just last week, we started to talk, with the COVID-19, and we've got some pilots that have passed away because you're out there flying in kind of a higher risk environment. And tragically, one of Ryan's dad's friends died in an ultralight accident recently. And it was his best friend that just gutted his dad. And I met him at Ryan's wedding. A great guy. And it's just this tragic event. And we got to talking while I was walking my really chubby kid up a steep hill. So I was a little out of breath. But in between my pants, I got out that, if something happened to Ryan, I don't know that I would want to do photography anymore. He's so, the whole reason I go to shoot half the time is to go spend time with Ryan. And if he can't go, the only reason I still want to go shoot is because I want to get something that pisses him off and makes him jealous. So if I can't do either of those things, I really don't know that I'd want to shoot. Now, most normal people, if they lose a loved one or somebody that's really close to them, the common phrase is always to say, hey, this person would want me to go and meet my goals and establish new dreams and just be out there excelling in the field for me. Not Ryan. Ryan says, yeah, you damn well better not shoot.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be the end of my photography career.
And I would be just somewhere in the beyond so happy that you're not shooting anymore.
I know you would. Yeah. So that's the kind of guy he is.
It sounds like there's a bit of a competitive rivalry here. Like, I hate to use the word frenemy, but it does sound to me that you guys push each other to become better photographers. Ryan, would you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, I mean, as much as Miles doesn't want to agree, we kind of started off on the same skill set. And so we've been able to kind of compete with each other, but also, if I learn something new, I show Miles and vice versa. And so it's this thing where the competitive thing, grinding against each other, with each other, all works out, for both of our benefits. So, it's just fun taking pop shots at your friend on the internet. And it just, people seem to like our friendship for whatever reason. So, people get a kick out of it on social media, and he and I get to hang out and learn together and bounce ideas off of each other. So, it's mutually beneficial.
Well, how does that work out when you're shooting together? I mean, there are people that I enjoy shooting with, and certainly, whenever I bump into, I've spent a lot of time with Miles, Ryan. I've bumped into you in the physical world a lot less, but we have had a lot of internet engagement. But I do enjoy shooting with folks like Miles and other people that I know that I'm very friendly with. But, a lot of photographers, especially landscape photographers, get into this to kind of get away from people and to get out there and have a little bit of alone time. And, the biggest challenge I've always had when I've been out shooting with other people is that they get in my way and vice versa. So how do you guys manage that? I mean, do you find yourselves... Okay.
No, I mean, how it really works is Miles is one of the few people I can shoot with who's as whiny a bitch as I am.
Totally true. So true.
I'm gonna have to bleep out so much of this interview.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
Sorry. Miles is the only guy I know who I can shoot with and be miserable, and he's right there with me.
Yep.
You know, we both half the trip were saying, "This sucks. Why do we do this? Let's just go home."
So true.
Until we get like an hour of good light. But you complain like that with anybody else, and
they just think you're whiny.
Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so
Now,
true.
by his own admission, Miles has told me a number of times that he is an unrepentant comp stomper. By that, he means that he copies other people's compositions. Ryan, does he often copy your compositions, and what's your thoughts about that?
He has on certain occasions. So actually, I would disagree with that a lot from Miles. You know, I think everybody kind of does the comp stomping thing early on just as a way of learning. But Miles isn't so much a comp stomper anymore. But there was a trip, 2017, right? Miles, we went to the Alvord, 2018.
Yeah, 2017.
It was
2017,
right? Your first trip back from your cancer.
Yeah.
And we're out on the Alvord Playa, and I searched for an hour to find a comp with, you know, good cracks and things. And I find it, and all of a sudden Miles says, "Oh, I forgot something back in my truck." And I was like, "You just got over cancer. I'll go get it for you in your truck." Walk over to his truck. I think he needed a flashlight or something. And walk back, and I can't find where my comp is anymore. He took my tripod, lifted it up from where it was on the comp, moved it, and then sat down on my comp. And I'm sitting there going, "Wait, this wasn't it. Where was my comp?" And well, Miles just ripped it out from underneath me.
Miles,
I'm beaming over here. I'm beaming. This is the greatest thing. It's so true. I mean, this is exactly how it happened. Exactly how it happened.
And I let it go because, you know, he just...
I almost died, yeah.
He's this poor soul.
He played the C card.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, so Miles, how do you justify this?
I justify
how can you take...
Oh, it's really easy. What I did was, we got great light. I took the shot, I put it out on their internet, and I accepted every accolade that came my way for the beautiful comp that I had found. I said, "Thank you, I know, I worked really hard. It's quite a comp." Yes, it is. That's exactly how I justify it. Yeah. Hey.
And I would do the exact same thing.
If I ever found a good comp, he would do the same thing.
Yeah, just give me a chance to do it.
Yeah, I try.
So
I'm not good at this.
This interview is already so much better than I ever expected it to be, and in just like 15 minutes, this is already the best Photo Talk interview that there ever has been and there ever will be. This is really good. I can't wait to dig into some more dirt here.
Oh yeah, there's plenty.
So let me ask you guys a serious question. You know, originality is, I think, especially landscape photography, can be very challenging because there's so many people out there going to so many places, and a lot of people are just doing very similar things. So how important is it to you guys to try to find a unique voice with your photography, and how do you go about doing that? And I think I'll start off with Miles, because we know that he's a cheater and a copier.
Yes.
So I want to see what he's got to say about this. I'm not going to let him copy your answer, Ryan. So he's going to have to come up with an original answer here.
Man, wait. I need a timeout then, because I got to think of something. Let me first do this. And I will tell you, to the viewers, Ian does not know this is coming. But one of the things that I have admired about Ian, and one of the reasons why I'm such a fan of his course that he put out, the landscape photography course and the Shutter Monkeys platform, is I don't know that I know of anybody in the game that is more clever at coming up with compositions and more creative at coming up with compositions than Ian is. And I also highly admire.
Thank you, guys.
I'm a faker and a cheater. And I use Photoshop in every way that I can to manipulate my images to make them look fun. I like to do that if that means warping, stretching, whatever. I don't care.
And that's only because we have half the dedication that he
That's
has.
right. And I have no skill or time or dedication or interest in hardship. So in order to get the shots that Ian gets requires an unbelievable amount of time, effort, persistence, because Ian is one of the few photographers out there that doesn't fake things. That when you see a shot of Ian's, you know it's real. And what is particularly special about that in today's day and age, and I have no problem with people that are creating composites and things like that. I really don't. It doesn't bother me at all. Everybody has their own individual art. But it is more special when you find somebody that truly can take an image that is pure and process it minimally and come up with a spectacular shot. And so every time I see one of Ian's shots that comes across my feed, I'm blown away because I know that he didn't fake it. He didn't trick it. He worked for it. Whether it be going down to South America to get the eclipse, or headed out to Mongolia and getting COVIDed out of Mongolia. I mean, he is dedicated to that. On the flip side, I will say that as I got into the last couple of years, I've become more tired of the Pacific Northwest where I live, which is a photo, Eden. People travel here to come shoot pictures, and I've found myself, and I know Ryan has too, because every time we get the chance to take a trip, we leave and go to the desert Southwest or the Rockies or someplace, because it feels like it's so overshot here that everybody's going to the same places. And that's not that there's to say that there aren't unique images to be made here, but it's harder to do. And I'm tired of seeing the same gorge shots. So we've tried to stretch our legs a little bit with the time that we have to go out into the desert where it's this vast expanse and you can find interesting comps on your own that nobody else has shot. That has become infinitely harder with a 1-year-old. I'm going 4 days a week flying, so on the other 3 days a week I need to come and relieve my poor wife who's just getting run over by this little chubster. And so for me, getting 1 or 2 trips a year is going to be my chance to do some photography. And so then it becomes tough, because if I'm going to go shoot something local for a day, I don't have time to go scout something. So I may go, just to keep the juices flowing, I may go to a spot that I've shot before, I've seen somebody else shoot before, and I know the comps there because I only have 2 or 3 hours. I can still enjoy photography that way, but I do feel it's important to give credit to the person that came up with it. If you're borrowing somebody's composition, you really need to give them the credit to say, hey, I was inspired by such and such a shot of here. And if somebody says great composition, I always deflect and say, yeah, it's not mine. Except when it's Ryan. I'll take all the credit. When it's Ryan's shot, I'll take it all. But anybody else, I'm pretty careful to say, hey, I was inspired by Mark Adamus or whoever it is that I came across their shot and liked, and that I had an hour and I went out and I shot it, and just to practice some photography. Well, it's the only chance I get. That was a long answer. I apologize.
That's quite all right. And you actually, I think, kind of changed the subject. Just to clarify, I'm not as pure as the driven snow as you implied there.
I only see you wearing white. Just saying. Just saying.
Well, I do try to. I've been doing this since the days of film, so I think that my approach is a little archaic. I still kind of want to have that tether to the traditional photography, where to me, what you did before you triggered the shutter was what made the photograph, and it's been difficult for me to sort of embrace this much more muscular, Photoshop-driven approach that I think you guys are both very well known for. And I think you said it right. These are all different kinds of art, and I certainly don't have any problem with the art that you guys are creating. The art that I'm doing, I think, is a lot different because it's much more traditional photography. You guys are doing this much more mixed media type of art where you're mixing it with a lot of the Photoshop work. And it's beautiful. It's incredible work. I'm always very jealous of what you guys are putting up. And I've also personally wrestled with this. I don't know that it makes me I forget what Miles said, but I remember thinking that when Miles was saying it, that doesn't make me better, that just makes me dumber, because everyone else is doing this stuff. And I've wrestled with this. I've thought about embracing this a bit more, and every now and then I feel myself kind of creeping in that direction, but then I kind of pull myself back. But for me, and this is, I think, a good topic maybe for Ryan to talk about for a bit. For one of the reasons why I kind of have stuck with this more traditional photography approach is that I really love being in the moment, that magical moment when something really incredible happens. And capturing that moment with my camera is a lot of fun. It's why I'm into photography, but experiencing that moment, living that moment for real, is the real reason why I'm doing this. And so I wanted to get your take on what happens when you are enhancing the moment. I mean, how do you react to what I just said? I mean, do you feel that your approach is any different, really? I mean, I get the feeling, I'm sorry, I'm probably answering the question for you, and I apologize that I'm stumbling on this, but I get the feeling that you probably love being in the moment as well, but you also love creating beautiful art. So, kind of react to what I just said.
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody using a camera to make, any sort of nature photography is always chasing that holy crap moment. That's what we all want, whether it's wildlife or landscape. I think we're always going out there chasing the high from that last crazy sunset or some comp you found that just you absolutely floored you and you're so stoked. And I love that. That's what I live for as well. That's something we definitely have in common. But I also really enjoy the how do I put it? I really enjoy the time spent sitting and honing my Photoshop skills. Not that I'm great at it or known for being great at it. I'm just a dude still learning. But taking inspiration from oil painters for me is like a huge thing that I'm into. I've always said if I could oil paint, I'd throw my camera out the window. I'd still be going out in the field painting. So I'd still have the infield experience of getting out in nature, but I've never been like a huge fan of photography, like as an art form. It's something I really know almost nothing about. I just happen to have been doing it for 13 years now. And so for me, it's just as much about being out in nature and chasing that singular moment, but it's also about taking influences from other mediums of art and figuring out how to tie those in to, photography, if that makes any sense.
So I have a 3-part question for you guys.
Three-part?
The
Holy
3-part,
cow.
yeah.
Hang on, let me write this down.
Miles, that's the number that comes after 2.
Okay, hang on, I gotta write something. I need something to write with. All right, go ahead, I'm ready.
Well, so I ask it as a 3-part question because sometimes the answer is the same for all 3 parts. So I like to ask people, what is the craziest thing that's ever happened to you in the field? What is the most dangerous thing that's ever happened to you in the field? And what's the best thing that's ever happened to you in the field? And I've got a feeling that the 2 of you have got some hilarious answers for this 3-part question.
Okay.
Okay, so Miles, let's do this.
Okay.
Let's choose from stories that have been us together in the field.
Okay, but I'm going to have to be the craziest one. I'm going to have to diverge because it's got to be picking cactus quills out of David Thompson's ass.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
And that may be the most dangerous too. But otherwise, yes. I already forgot the 3rd prong to the question. Craziest, most dangerous, and best.
Best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah. Okay. And so my one divergence is best thing is I proposed to my wife.
Yawn. Sorry, Candace, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay, but
otherwise, let's choose from stories of us together. We're sending this thing off the rails.
Yeah,
but just to be clear, it's got to be like photography related.
Oh, yeah,
so unless you took a picture of you proposing to your wife, then that doesn't count.
Okay, that doesn't count. So Miles, we'll choose stories of us in the field.
Okay. I am going to stick with the craziest thing that's ever happened to me, photography related. Was I was out shooting in just outside Yuma, Arizona, in the Kofa National Forest Refuge Wildlife Game Park, and with David Thompson, who's a dear friend. And I don't know if you've ever photographed those little cholla teddy bear cactuses, but they bite hard, and you can get that spear even through your shoes. If you're wearing tennis shoes, it will go right up through your shoe and into your foot. And we both have just learned this, so we very, very careful, cruising around. And I get down to my comp, and I find a shot, and the sunrise is coming, and I'm into it. I'm shooting away, and I hear these screams, otherworldly screams, and I'm looking around thinking, what's going on? It's David. And he's like, son, you gotta help me. And I'm thinking, do I finish my shoot, or do I go and help him? And it was a toss-up, and I thought he maybe had bit by a snake, and I thought, he'll probably live long enough. The sunrise is getting pretty good here. I eventually did abandon ship and went over to help him, and what I found was he had gotten one of these little cactus balls on his foot and somehow flung it up into his buttocks. And he was in agony and trying to get these things out of his buttocks, and he's like, I can't get it out. So I get down in tight, and I'm thinking, well, this is okay. This is not what I expected to be doing on my photography outing, but you got to help a brother out. So I come in and I pluck him out, and they got these little barbs on the end. So when they pluck, they pull, and it's painful, and he screams. Now, if you don't know David, he is a man's man. So when I say screams, it's a yell. But I like to soften it up a little bit. So I'm plucking these things out of his hindquarters, and he says, "Oh, okay." And then he runs his hand over his pants, and he says, "Oh my God! It's not. We didn't finish." Well, I can't see anymore through his jeans. So the jeans come down. At this point, I'm sweating thinking about this now. And the sun's starting to come up. It's beating on my brow.
This sounds like it's about to turn into a much different type of story.
It's a definitely different type of video that we are shooting here now. But you want crazy, I'm going to give you crazy. And the first thing I noticed is he's got this wonderful eggplant color underwear. And I'm thinking, I wonder where he got those. Like, these are really nice. They're kind of lycra. But back to the task at hand. So I find a couple quills, and I pull them out. I'm like, okay, ship shape, man. And he goes, thanks, son, thank you. And reaches down, and he goes, oh my God. Now Houston, we have a problem because I can't see them through the lycra anymore, but there are still some quills in there.
Oh.
There comes a time in a man's life when you need to decide how important a friendship is to you. And I still think I made the wrong choice because the the underwear came down. And I'm not gonna color code it. It wasn't pretty. But I did what I had to do, and I got the quills out. So that's my craziest story. Ryan, you.
We're going craziest story. I've got nothing that tops that.
Yeah. If you can't top that, then don't worry about it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll let Miles take that one. Right. Okay. So what was the
most dangerous?
The other parts.
The most dangerous.
I'll let you pick that one.
Most dangerous. What have we done that's dangerous?
Just walk along an active lava flow and a bench that breaks off and collapses into the sea.
Can we go? Can we go ninja mode on that, Miles?
I don't.
Oh, right, because you were somewhere where you might not have been allowed to.
Okay.
Yeah, I think probably not. Why don't we just stay on the bench?
Okay.
Yeah. Let's just speak hypothetically about two photographers.
If there were two guys out there
named Biles and Brian.
Yes, and only Miles and Briles and
Biles and Brian. Yeah.
Biles.
Yeah.
Biles.
Mine and Biles.
Yeah, I think probably the most dangerous situation we've ever been in was on the lava flows. Miles, that year we went in 2013.
Yes.
We went out with Bruce and Tom. And it was the last morning. So we're out there on the flows, and you, me, and Bruce are up on the bench, and we're kind of shooting down. And I've actually got a shot that's still in my portfolio from that morning, and from where we were standing. And so we're shooting, and the light was incredible, and we're high-fiving, and we're out there, shooting until the very last bit of the decent light. And, okay, well, that's about it. We get down off that bench, like back down onto the black sand beach, and we start walking back to where, we had set our gear a little bit further away. And we look back, we're loading up our camera bags. We look back at the spot we were standing on, and it just slowly just crumbles to bits and oozes lava out. And this was probably a minute after we'd been standing on it. And we look back, and that thing's just gone. Just the river
of lava cutting that off from the beach. There's no way off that thing.
Yeah, I mean, if we'd been on there 60 seconds longer,
we'd still be out there.
We would have just crumbled into the lava. Yeah,
that was.
So that gave me, one, a lot more respect for shooting the lava, and two, way more respect for what Bruce and Tom do. I mean, the amount of time they spend out there and they're not dead yet. I mean, they really know what they're doing, and that's why I won't go do it without them. But it's just unbelievably dangerous. So
yeah, definitely.
I think that's our one for
that's
a good one.
That's a good one. Yep.
Well, and then the final question is the best thing that ever happened to you when you were taking pictures. And I've got a feeling that I know the answer from Miles. It was about this time he was in the Kofas with his good friend, David, and he heard a scream.
Oh God. I'm sweating. Yeah. No, that was woo. If David Thompson proposes to me after reading or listening to this interview, I'm going to be pissed at you, Ian. Yeah. Okay.
It sounds to me like that moment has already passed. That you should have struck while the iron was hot and you missed your opportunity.
Yeah, the iron was definitely hot. He was packing some heat in those buns.
Oh man.
What do you think, Ryan? I mean, maybe Hidden Lake.
Hidden Lake with Steve.
The Mamatas with Steve.
Yeah,
that's up there.
That was a pretty freaking good night. For me, I still will say that trip we went to the Alvord after you got your cancer-free diagnosis, because that was I'd never cried so much in my freaking life when you were going through that.
Me too.
It was looking rough. It was. Well, not as much as me, but that's a joke. Jesus, nobody.
That's not because you're not funny. I don't know what else to tell you. Okay. If people don't know when you're joking, then you're not funny.
Oh, man.
Well, you started talking about cancer, so we all put on our cancer faces, and it's like you're smiling, and then you're like, "Oh my God, someone just said cancer! Quick, frown!"
Oh God.
Yeah, but then I like to interject with a little bit of like, I'm still better than Tom.
Yeah, standard.
That was such a rough time, and you put me in your will, and it got like that crazy and that scary, and I'd spend a lot of nights thinking, well, if he goes, I don't know if I'm going to want to shoot ever again. And so that first trip back, just you and me, going out to the Alvord and just laughing like we used to always laugh, like nothing had happened. That was one of my highlights over the past few years, for sure.
Yeah, I'll concur with that. That was maybe the best. That crack that I moved you off of is one of my top 3 favorite pictures, just because I really didn't know that I was ever going to be able to take a picture again. I mean, it was pretty grim there for a second, and so to be back out there with my best buddy, just that was pretty spectacular. And to top it off, what made the trip just even more special was that Ryan forgot the ladder to his rooftop tent. So when he had to come out of his tent, he'd kind of back out of it, and it looked like a water buffalo giving birth. His butt would come out, and he'd kind of spread the tent, and then he'd kind of like waddle himself off the top and fall onto his spare tire, and then down onto the ground. And I got to see that like 3 or 4 times. So yeah, all in all, just a special trip.
And that morning, dying laughing in the diner, annoying anybody around us because you couldn't figure out how to post.
I tried this morning. My wife's trying to help me, and I still screwed it up. I don't know how to post an Instagram story.
Wow, I knew you guys were close. I didn't realize you guys were this close. I mean, I thought it was a little creepy and codependent when you guys wanted to do the interview together. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Now, this is actually. Sorry, go ahead.
No, if you were to ask me what the best thing about photography is, it's Ryan for me. Without Ryan, I don't do photography. I've never ever put a shot out to the world or on my website that I haven't sent to Ryan first. Say, hey, what's wrong with this? Can you give me some eyes? Yep. I've never gone on a photography trip where I haven't called him before, during, and after to rub in that I got good light or lament that I got bad light. I've never done anything to an image that Ryan didn't teach me how to do, frankly. I didn't know I knew nothing about photography until I became friends with him. And so it makes that the whole reason I'm here is because of the time that I get to spend with him. And so for that, I'm joking aside, I'm going to throw up. I feel sick to my stomach. I feel sick. Go on without me. Oh, Lord.
Okay. I will follow up with the
Oh, I'm sick. I'm sick.
Dry heaving.
No.
I will follow up with the 2 most important people in my life in the past decade I've met through photography, and that's my best friend in the world, Miles, and my wife, Candace. And so if, my career tanks tomorrow, I decide I hate photography and I never do it again, I've still met 2 of the most important people in my life through photography. So, I've at least got that to be thankful for.
Guys, I knew I was going to laugh during this interview, but I didn't realize that I was going to cry. So I think...
We've got range.
Okay, hang on. I need to take a time out because my fake throw up, my wife just came in and said, "Are you okay? I thought you were throwing up." My poor wife. She just has to.
Oh, poor Chloe.
Guys,
oh, God.
There are so many questions I want to ask you, and I think the best answer is to have you guys come back at some point in the future, because I think this is the perfect place to end. The lesson from this interview is it's important to go out there and find yourself a really good photo buddy. And this has been the best interview that I've ever done, and it will be the best interview I will ever do. Ryan Miles, thank you so much for coming on Photo Talk. It has been a true honor, a privilege, and a pleasure talking with you.
Ian, I've been a fan of yours for a really long time, and you are a wonderful friend in person and a great shooter, so thanks for having us on.
Well, I appreciate that. I know none of that is true, but thank you very much. And you guys are incredible photographers, and I've loved your work for the longest time, and I'm so glad to be able to talk with you guys and to share your stories and your insights and inspiration with my viewers. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ian.
Thanks, Ian.
Landscape photography isn't just about taking pictures of beautiful scenery. It's about telling the story of the landscape, and it's about telling your story as an artist. I'm professional photographer Ian Plant, and my courses are designed to give you the technical skills that you need to succeed and to help develop your own personal creative vision. So, are you ready to share your story with the world?